Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. It's Friday, the 27th of June, 2025. Now, I've got a ton of stories that are making headlines here at home and stories that matter internationally as well. So let's start off. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has expressed his full support for Sri Lanka's current trajectory under President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, praising efforts to strengthen national unity, promote reconciliation and uphold human rights. Now, during a meeting at the Presidential Secretariat on Thursday, Turk commended the political and social transformation underway in Sri Lanka. He noted that citizens from both the North and South have placed strong confidence in the President and his administration, and that his visit has provided him with a clear understanding of the transformation taking place. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk also emphasized the renewed optimism among Sri Lankans for a brighter future, emphasizing the importance of maintaining momentum in the reconciliation process. A key topic of discussion was the issue of missing persons. The High Commissioner acknowledged the shared pain experienced by families across the country and stressed the UN Rights Office's expectation that the Sri Lankan government will honor the trust placed in it by these families. He also underscored the need to strengthen and restructure institutions responsible for addressing this issue, noting that past political cultures had hindered their effectiveness. President Dissanayake has responded by affirming his administration's deep understanding of the suffering caused by the disappearances, having directly experienced such losses as a political movement. He has reiterated his government's commitment to implement reforms that promote unity, reconciliation and human rights. Now, according to the President's media division, the President also emphasized that restoring economic stability remains a top priority. He called for continued international support, including from the UN Human Rights Office, to help convey Sri Lanka's true circumstances to the global community and improve its international standings. Now, at the same time, Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, has called on the Sri Lankan government to build on recent progress in acknowledging past injustices and to translate public commitments into tangible actions and promote truth, justice and reconciliation. Speaking to reporters during his visit in Sri Lanka, Turk commended President Anura Kumara Dissanayake for publicly recognizing the shared pain and grief experienced by individuals across all communities. He emphasized that such acknowledgement is a vital step towards healing and closure.
The legacy of the past presents a daunting challenge for the new government. I followed and been encouraged by the speeches of the President over the past few months, in which he has publicly recognized the shared pain and grief of individuals from all communities. It is important to build on this momentum and to translate it into tangible results so that the truth of what happened to loved ones is unearthed. Acknowledgement and truth-telling are important steps towards healing and closure, as are justice, reparation and non-recurrence. Sri Lanka has struggled to move forward with domestic accountability mechanisms that are credible and have the trust and confidence of the victims. This is why Sri Lankans have looked outside for justice through assistance at the international level. Ultimately, it's the state's responsibility, and it is important that this process is nationally owned, and it can be complemented and supported by international means. My own office has been mandated to gather and preserve information and analyze violations and abuses, and has established a dedicated project for this purpose. I hope that it can support future accountability efforts both here in Sri Lanka and internationally. The government has reopened investigations and prosecutions into some important cases, including the Easter Sunday attacks, and I encourage that these be advanced. Achieving results in at least some long-standing and representative human rights cases would have a powerful demonstrative and confidence-building effect.
Now, at the same time, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, has called on the Sri Lankan government to impose a moratorium on the use of the Prevention of Tourism Act, that's the controversial PTA, and expedite the release of long-term detainees and repeal the controversial Online Safety Act. Now, moving on, Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayake met with former South African President Thabo Mbeki at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday, marking a significant diplomatic engagement focused on reconciliation and national unity. Now, Mbeki is on his first visit to Sri Lanka. He expressed his appreciation for the opportunity to witness the country's progress firsthand. He noted that he has long followed Sri Lanka's efforts towards unity and reconciliation with keen interest and was pleased to visit at such a pivotal moment. Now, despite the geographical distance between South Africa and Sri Lanka, Mbeki highlighted the shared characteristics of both nations, including their multi-ethnic, multi-religious and multicultural societies. He had emphasized that both countries face similar challenges in achieving lasting peace and expressed his willingness to share insights from South Africa's own reconciliation journey. Now, Mbeki voiced confidence in President Disanayake's leadership and his ability to unite Sri Lanka's diverse communities while addressing economic and social challenges. Now, President Dissanayake has affirmed his administration's commitment to fostering national harmony and reconciliation. He emphasized his dedication to building unity among all ethnic groups and steering the country towards stability and progress. Now, why is Thabo Mbeki in Sri Lanka? Well, the Capital Maharaja Group's annual convention is set to take place this afternoon at the Stein Studios in Malana, with former South African President Thabo Mbeki attending as the chief guest. Mbeki, widely respected as a prominent democratic leader and statesman in the African region, arrived in Sri Lanka yesterday morning. Now you can see the visuals of his welcome at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Now, he was warmly received at the BIA by Western Province Governor Hanif Yusuf, South African High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Edwin Schalk, and Capital Maharaja Group Director Siobhan Daniel, among others. Now, during the summit, Mbeki is scheduled to deliver a keynote address, and his visit also includes meetings with young entrepreneurs and business leaders in Colombo aimed at fostering dialogue and collaboration. Now, over the weekend, former South African President Thabo Mbeki will also attend a Gammadda program down south. Now, you may know that for approximately 12 days, two countries in the Middle East, Iran and Israel, exchanged a barrage of missiles, resulting scores of deaths and injuries and creating tensions globally, creating uncertainty globally. Now, in the midst of all this, the ambassador of Iran to Sri Lanka, speaking to reporters yesterday, confirmed that tea exports from Sri Lanka to Iran have resumed smoothly following temporary disruptions caused by regional instability. Now, here's a look at the comments by Dr. Ali Raza Delkosh, the ambassador of Iran.
Exporting tea from Sri Lanka to Iran is working right now, and we don't have any problem. Of course, during these 12 days, there were some problems because it is not especially for tea importing. It is because of the stability of region, and all ports were on the special situation. But after resolving this issue, but ceasefire right now, the ports are open, routes are safe, and export of tea is working right now. And yesterday we had a good negotiation with Excellency Foreign Ministry of Sri Lanka, and the Excellency asked me about the possibility of maximizing of exporting tea from Sri Lanka to Iran, and I told him that yes, we are ready to maximize this importing from Sri Lanka. We don't have any direct exportation of oil from Iran, Sri Lanka. Some other countries buy oil from Iran, and after adding some commissions, they sell oil to Sri Lanka.
Well, those were the comments by the Iranian ambassador. Now, Sri Lanka Customs has announced that the ongoing container congestion at the Colombo port is expected to be resolved by tomorrow, following a recent surge in daily container arrivals. According to Customs spokesperson Sivali Arugoda, the congestion was triggered by a sharp increase in the number of containers arriving at the port. While the port typically handles around 1,200 containers per day, recent figures have spiked to approximately 2,200 containers daily. Arugoda stated that customs staff is working at full capacity to manage the situation and minimize delays. In addition to the regular daily influx, around 250 containers are currently stacked at the port awaiting clearance. Now, in a related note, Sri Lanka Customs has recommended the re-export of 5 containers of imported salt after they failed to meet national quality standards. Customs spokesperson Sivali Arugoda stated that all salt containers brought into the country are subject to rigorous standards testing. The 5 containers in question were found to be non-compliant with the Sri Lanka Standards certification requirements. According to Customs, approximately 2,000 containers of salt have been imported under the relevant import permit. However, the import window officially closed on the 10th of June. The Ministry of Education has announced that a revised circular regarding student admission to intermediate grades will be issued next week, aiming to address shortcomings that existed in the previous version. Deputy Minister of Education Dr. Madhuva Senaviratne stated that the new circular has been carefully prepared to eliminate several deficiencies identified in the earlier guidelines. Now, it is designed to ensure that the most suitable students are admitted to schools in a fair and transparent manner. The revised circular will also introduce measures to curb illegal and unethical admission processes. In addition, Dr. Senaviratne confirmed that a revised circular for Grade 1 admission also scheduled for release next week. Now, Sri Lankan health authorities are urging individuals affected by chikungunya to seek medical treatment for persistent joint pain, a common symptom of the mosquito-borne viral disease currently spreading across the country. Now, Dr. Aruni Hatamuna, acting specialist at the epidemiology unit, emphasized that joint swelling and pain can last for several weeks in some patients, even after the initial fever subsides. She advised those experiencing prolonged discomfort to consult healthcare professionals for appropriate and pain management and supportive care. Now, let's move on to the world of sports. The third day of the second test match between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will get underway this morning at the SSC grounds in Colombo, with the hosts holding a 43-run lead and 8 wickets in hand in their first innings. Bangladesh, batting first, posted a total of 247 runs before being bowled out. In response, Sri Lanka began strongly with an 88-run stand between Pathum Nissanka and Lahiru Udara. Udara contributed 40 runs. The momentum continued as Nissanka partnered with Dinesh Chandimal to build a formidable 194-run stand for the second wicket. Nissanka remained unbeaten on 146, marking his 4th Test century, while Chandimal fell just short of a century with a well-crafted 93, his 34th Test half-century. By the end of day on play 2, Sri Lanka reached 290 for the loss of 2 wickets, establishing a 43-run lead over Bangladesh with 8 wickets still in hand. Well, that brings a wrap to this week's edition of the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. I will see you again on Monday with more stories that will develop throughout today and also over the weekend. If you want to keep yourself updated with all the stories that we carried this morning, visit our award-winning website www.newsfirst.lk. Also follow us on our socials on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok. In addition, don't forget to subscribe to our WhatsApp channel, where all the latest stories, including news alerts and videos, come directly to your palm-held devices. Until I see you again, take care and stay safe.